Hello, everybody. We just did a clear and release statement together around fearing shifting our identity. And so I wanted to come to a full clearing on this issue because I think it's an issue that makes a lot of sense and a lot of us might be experiencing just based on what's going on in the world right now, based on our age perhaps. We are in the age of Aquarius. Pluto shifted into Aquarius, what was it, end of last year, beginning of this year. And generationally, that means a big shift for all of us into a new way of thinking, a new way of being. We have a lot of the big outer planets that shifted, moved into new signs this year, including Uranus and Gemini. And so that again is about shifting who and what we thought we were into something that hopefully benefits a little bit better the collective and us as individuals. And then if you break it down, let's get rid of the astrology, but if you just really break it down, this can be for anybody who has been stuck out of alignment, but has been afraid to follow their true path, follow what they really want and need because of a fear of hurting other people or, just the pain that it might cause to shift from what I once was into who I want to be. And also this is for people who maybe fear the instability that can happen during those sorts of big time identity shifts. Sometimes we are forced then to go through big ego deaths or big shocking things where we get fired from a job or our partner breaks up with us, because ultimately that's what we need, but we've been too afraid to go through those transitions and make those decisions for ourselves. So this is supposed to be, my intention anyways, for this to be a really supportive clearing for those of us who are going through big identity transitions, big life transitions, and just need that support to be able to release ourselves from that fear. So the first thing that I want to look at today is, what is a new focus for us? If we're going to let go of the fear of this identity shift, what is the new thing that we're going to call in its place that can really be our grounding force and our grounding focus? Laughter. I love this. So what percent are we open to seeing the humor in this time through these transitions? We're not open at all. And what percent are we blocked to humor? 100%. So let's do that, right? We're going to release ourselves from this fear, and we can look a little bit at the root of this fear, but then let's really focus on anything that is blocking us to seeing humor in all of this, laughing through it all. Just again, laughing at the ridiculousness of this human experience and the things that we put ourselves through, because humans are meant to change, they're meant to transform, they're meant to grow. And that's very obvious, right? It's like we're born as these little babies, we're born as infants, totally needing constant help and support. And then we grow and we merge and we transform. And yet we don't always allow that process to just happen. We keep ourselves stuck, we keep ourselves rigid. And that's not serving us, or else this would not have come up for this clearing today. So let's first look at the root of this fear. Is there anything related to this fear that you want me to look at that we would just be able to see it and maybe better just snap ourselves out of it? What's going on with this fear? What is actually at the root of this fear? Self-punishment. So release ourselves now from any vow, contract, curse, agreement that relates to self-punishment. We don't have to do it anymore. You don't have to punish yourself for growing. You don't have to punish yourself for transforming. You don't have to punish yourself for wanting to be someone else, to express a different part of yourself, for wanting to change. You don't have to punish yourself for wanting a divorce, for wanting to leave your job, for wanting to kick your kids out of the house because they're 18 and you're ready to be done with them. You don't have to punish yourself for expressing yourself in a different way, for wanting a new look, for wanting to wear different clothes or drive a different car, or, walk a different way to the store or go a different way to work. You can allow yourself the peace and the comfort of knowing that it's okay to want change. Wanting change does not mean you are selfish. Wanting change does not mean you are bad. Wanting change does not mean you are not grateful. Wanting change does not mean that there is anything wrong with you. You want to breathe. You want to move. You want to branch out, and that's beautiful and wonderful and okay. So releasing ourselves now from the energy of self-punishment that was keeping us trapped in these old identities, feeling like we weren't allowed to change or grow or transform. What else can you show us today? We're just clearing any additional mental programs. anything that's going on here related to our mind, the programming of our mind that says, and this can be programming that we picked up in all of the movies and all of the TV shows and all of the magazines and all of the things we've exposed ourselves to throughout our whole lives. This could be programmed that our family told us. Maybe your mom, maybe your dad, maybe your grandma, whoever it is in your life that was a main caregiver and influence for you. Maybe it was a teacher, a pastor, a soccer coach, your ballet teacher. Somebody somewhere along the line told you that stability was king, that consistency was king, that the thing that you needed the most to focus on was picking a field and sticking with it. Picking a partner and sticking with it, picking an identity and sticking with it. Someone, somewhere along the line imprinted that inside of you, probably multiple people from multiple places. Release ourselves now from any outdated programming that said the only way to be is one way to be. The only way to be is predictable. The only way to be is consistent. The only way to be is what everybody else wants me to be and thinks I am. I allow myself to explore who and what I am, who I want to be, and I don't have to be stuck in it. I don't have to be cemented into it. I don't need to tattoo that on my body and in my life somewhere. I can choose to be this way today and another way tomorrow. Embrace your inner Gemini, embrace your inner twin, embrace the light and the dark and all of your inner opposites. I knew someone once and I called them prismatic because they had so many sides, and this made them very frustrating to deal with because you never knew what side you were getting. But it was also beautiful and intriguing and captivating because you're like, wow, look at you over here. No, wait, you have this angle. No, wait, over here you look like this. Over here you look like this. And then when the light shines through you, you are reflected in a million different ways and very hard to pin down. And so we all need to be a little bit more like that and allow each other to be a little bit more like that. Allow the people in your life to be prismatic. Allow the people in your life to show up the way they want to show up every day. You know, if somebody wants to express this part of themselves today and another part of themselves tomorrow, we can love and embrace them through that and love and embrace ourselves through that same process as well. So is there anything else you want me to look at here as it relates to this root fear of transformation and change? Okay, we're going to go with some of these higher charts, which is interesting. I don't always get these higher level charts. What's happening here? Our emotional body needs cleared of any of this cement. And that's really what I'm seeing this as. It's like we have our physical body, we have our mental body, we have our emotional body, our etheric body, this energetic body, and then we have our spiritual body. And in this particular case, it's saying our emotional body has been plastered in cement. We have been stuck because when our identity is stuck doing one thing, our emotional body feels we must then match that. Our emotional body is like, oh, well, I'm the professional businesswoman who, is always poised and always in control and always makes good decisions. And so emotionally, that must be how I show up. And so emotionally, I've actually stunted myself. Emotionally, I've actually prevented myself from growing because I have allowed my emotional body to get stuck with my physical projection of this identity of who I am. And for me, I have attached that to my career. I've been a career woman. That's what I have done. For some people, it's you've cemented your emotional body as your identity, with your identity as a mother, with your identity as a lawyer, with your identity as a father, with your identity as, whatever the case may be. Pick an identity. Maybe as a healer, maybe as a guide, maybe as a teacher, the one that knows it all. And so your emotional body has been, tethered to that one identity. And so your emotional body has not been able to flow freely through other experiences, through other expressions, through other ways of experiencing itself. Oh, I must always experience my emotional body as a professional businesswoman. Just even saying those words, I'm like, oh my God, that's exhausting. I'm tired of always expressing my emotional body as a professional businesswoman. Can I just not? Can I just can I be a hot mess? I do not let myself be a hot mess. I should let myself be a hot mess. We can all let ourselves be a hot mess. Or maybe you've been a hot mess and you want to be a professional businesswoman. Go do that. Go do the other thing. So releasing all of us from the emotional cement that has kept us, stuck and rigid in our emotional expressions and in feeling our emotions in all the different ways that we could possibly feel them. All right. So is there anything else you want me to explore when it comes to the fears? No. So now we're going to look at that openness piece. So I'm getting a yes. So we're talking then about our openness to humor and laughter, because that's going to be the ultimate antidote, right? We're going to be able to really fully embrace these new identities and these new ways of being ourselves through humor, through laughter, allowing other people to laugh at us as we learn and grow through these new expressions of ourselves. And then certainly laughing at ourselves. That's the big one. Not taking ourselves so seriously. Let's take a deep breath right there, because I was feeling that. I'm like, okay, I don't have to take myself so seriously. What? Oh, that's nice. I don't have to take myself so seriously. Okay, cool. What does it mean now for me if I say I release myself from having to take myself so seriously? I open the door for the truth that I can be whoever I want to be with humor and laughter and joy. I can make mistakes along the way. Ooh, that's a big one. I can make mistakes along the path to my new identity. I don't have to get it right the first time. As I am branching out of the container that I have kept myself in for so long, I don't have to get it right the very first time that I'm trying to build this new identity. I can try this identity and see what I like about that and don't like about that, take pieces of it, come over here, add something to it, subtract something from it, continue to just mold and shape myself over my whole life. You can keep doing this over and over and over again until the day you die, however old that may be. You do not have to feel like you have this once and for all, one final identity that you get stuck onto. And again, the more humor and laughter we bring into this process, the easier it will be, the more we will enjoy it, and the less we will be operating inside of fear. Humor and laughter is really, again, that beautiful antidote to fear. Okay, what else do we need to do to fully open ourselves up? We can check our numbers one more time, because I don't even know that I remember them, honestly. So what percent are we open to laughter and joy? 100%. And what percent are we blocked to laughter and joy? Okay, that's where the big thing is now. So we're open to this laughter and this joy and this humor. So, but we're blocked. And again, our openness is our heart. It's our desire. The block is the energetic pipe that brings us in energy, that brings us in that joy, that brings us in that laughter. That energetic channel is blocked. There's muck in it. It's a clogged drain. It's like the bathroom after 15 long-haired teenage girls have taken a shower. It's all mucked up. So what do we got to do to clear out that clog, to clear out that drain? What do we need to do? Is this 6A or 21? 6A. Okay, so that's our icky energies chart. We're familiar with that chart. So 6A, you're hiding. There you are. What are the energies that are blocking our channel to humor? What are the energies that are blocking our channel to humor? Hate of life. We hate life, so we don't find it funny and humorous. We have toxic shame, so we're not finding things funny and humorous. We're having selfishness, fear of being selfish. Oh my gosh. If I divorce my partner, quit my job, if I change my identity, if I'm no longer the banging businesswoman and instead I just go be a barista and then have a little farm with cows, oh my God, like everybody is going to think that I'm selfish. Everybody's going to think that I'm crazy. Nobody's going to understand. Those are all those fear energies that are blocking us to the humor and the laughter to say, who cares? Who cares? Who cares? Because you know what? I'll be happy when I'm a barista with my little, farm sanctuary out in the middle of nowhere. That's okay. That's okay. I don't have to worry about people thinking that I'm selfish. And the reason that we're hating life is because we're not living in our alignment. We're not living in our true identity. We're stuck in the energy of fear. We're not in the energy of humor and laughter. And so we are hating life. And that is blocking us to the humor and the laughter that will allow us to go through the transformation that will get us to loving life. Do you see how this is all connected? So releasing all of us now from these energies, the fear of selfishness, this hate of life, all of these things, the toxic shame. Again, for so many of us, we are afraid of the shame that will come when we finally act in our own good. When we, again, leave our partner, sell our house, stop being the one that is always reliable, dependable, responsible. When we stop doing those things, we're so afraid of the shame that will come from everybody looking down on us for shirking our responsibilities. Or from shifting from somebody who identifies as straight to somebody who identifies as gay, because maybe that's going on for you as well. Maybe you're somebody who has been, outwardly expressing yourself as female, but wants to start actively expressing yourself as male, and you are afraid of the shame that will come in that process. And here it is. The answer is, let it go. Let it go and laugh. Laughter, laughter, laughter. Stop being afraid of other people laughing at you. Laugh at yourself. Laugh at the process. Laugh at the ridiculousness of life. What a silly and ridiculous thing this life is. I am not going to take it so seriously. If today I decide I want to go experience a completely new identity as a completely different person, I will do that. Everybody else be damned. Everybody else be damned. And that's, I get it. That's easy for me to say. I'm not married. I don't have kids. I don't have those same sorts of obligations. And I'm not going through any kind of like those intense identity shifts that I mentioned. And I also do know what it's like to go through massive transformation and to have an identity that is destroyed, that is taken from you in a very painful way, and then having to rebuild a new identity afterwards. It's very difficult. So I get it. Okay, anything else on this chart that we can use to help unblock us, clear the drains to our humor? So there are beings attached to all of us that have not fully crossed over, and they are keeping you down in that heavy energy. And in this particular case, I'm seeing family members, I'm seeing grandparents, I'm seeing friends, I'm seeing people who had this pressure on you to perform, to show up in a very specific kind of way. So releasing all of us now, and I feel that in my back, releasing all of us now from those beings, those people, those souls who programmed us into thinking that we had to show up in a certain kind of a way. Any additional responsibility that other people have placed on us, these beings have placed on us, we release ourselves from that now, and we divorce ourselves from those connections and those dynamics, at least in any way where they are no longer serving us. I can still have love for my grandma who wanted me to exist a certain way and show up a certain way. I can still have love for my mother who put all this pressure on me to emotionally show up and support the whole family. I release myself. I can love my father, but I release myself from the responsibility that my father placed on me to show up in a certain way, make money, perform, get married, do the thing. I release myself from all of the toxic parts of all of these dynamics with all of these beings because it is no longer serving me, but I maintain my love for them. And that's something that I think a lot of us don't realize we can do. We can divorce ourselves from the toxic parts of dynamic while maintaining our love for these beings. And so in this particular clearing, those are the beings that I'm seeing, and that's the dynamic that I'm seeing here. And let's just also say spirit clear it. Spirit clear any being that is hanging on to all of us, that is impacting us in any kind of a negative way. Known beings like, relatives or unknown. Anyone in our soul family or our oversoul who would benefit from being released now, or asking for them to be released now. Okay, what else do we need to do here to unclog the drains? Memories, the master key, imprints on our embryo. Imprints while we were in utero, y'all. Some of this stuff is so deep. Some of it is so deep. These are memories you have. You don't know you have them. They're unconscious memories, but they're body memories, they're DNA memories, they're soul memories that were imprinted on you because someone projected onto you the vision of who and what they wanted you to be. Someone imprinted onto you the identity of who they were going to have come into this life. Your mother, your father, again, grandparents, someone around you while you were in the womb had already created an iteration of you, a vision of you, and you got stuck in that imprint and pattern. You performed, right? You're a good little performer. You're a good kid. You followed the rules. Maybe you rebelled a little bit, but overall you're good. And in the end, you showed up for it. You created and manifested that vision for them. You created and manifested the vision of who it was they wanted you to be. And you're done with it now. I release myself from any imprint and any iteration that anyone has ever made of me that is not serving my highest good here and now. And I release my soul to be able to express itself in the way that it wants to express itself. Yeah, let that go. Now, what percent are we blocked to our humor? What percent are we blocked to our humor? Oh, we are still now 100% blocked to our humor. So something has gone on here. And it's really interesting because I feel the fight of family expectations. That's why this is coming up, is because we were starting to get unblocked, and then we're starting to talk about the expectation that our families had for us. And all of a sudden we're going blocked again. And this can happen in a clearing, and it doesn't happen very often, but it can absolutely happen in a clearing where now we've just allowed the intensity and the pressure, the responsibility, those memories, those beings to come here and remind us of who and what we know they want us to be. And so we're just going to take an extra minute to soften into your body, release those expectations. I release myself from that pressure now. I release myself from the pressure of all of my family expectations now. I'm not afraid to confront my family's disappointment. I am not afraid to confront my father's disappointment. I am not afraid to confront my mother's disappointment. I'm not afraid to confront my grandparents' disappointment. I am not afraid to confront my siblings' disappointment. I am not afraid to confront the disappointment of my spouse. I'm not afraid to confront the disappointment of my children. I believe in myself enough to know that I can handle that disappointment. I am worthy of joy and laughter. Okay, that feels a little bit better. So now what percent are we blocked to humor and our laughter? Only 10% now. So thank you for bearing with me through that. And I'm so sorry for anybody who has felt this unbearable expectation placed upon them. That's really, really hard. That's really, really hard. And I understand that it's one of the hardest things to do is to disappoint people. Praise yourself. Praise yourself. You're doing it. You're doing a good job. It's really, really hard, but you're doing it anyway. Be proud of yourself. Be certain in yourself. Celebrate yourself. Other people may not celebrate you, but that doesn't mean you can't celebrate yourself. No one's taking you out for a drink when you leave your partner or leave your job or kick your kids out or change your identity or transform yourself in some way. Take yourself out for a drink. Buy yourself the flowers. Celebrate yourself. Celebrate yourself in any way you can. You deserve to be celebrated. This journey is really, really challenging, and you deserve to be praised and celebrated for that. Anything else you want me to do here in this clearing? Ooh, we're looking at chart 11, and we're going to wrap up here in just a second. Oh, archetypes and identities. These, we call them miasms of the soul, and it's almost like the soul has splintered into these different archetypes and these different identities, and we do it to cope. And again, we do it because it's the expectation, and we do it because sometimes it's what's been programmed before we even get here. And we release all of ourselves now from all of the archetypes and all of the identities that our soul thought we were supposed to have from any past life or from this life. And we just call in peace and healing and understanding for ourselves as we affirm and explore and discover who and what we really are. Yeah, I like to imagine, taking all of the uniforms you've ever had to wear, right? Maybe you worked at Dairy Queen as a kid. Maybe you worked at Kohl's. Maybe you worked at Taco Bell. Maybe you worked at this UPS, maybe wherever, right? And also you're thinking about all the uniforms of identity you've worn. Mother, father, sibling, kid, worker, lawyer, doctor, healer, guide, teacher, all these identities, male, female, woman, kid, all the different uniforms you've had to wear. I want you to imagine piling them up. You're in a big, beautiful field, right? Nothing can get hurt. Nothing can get injured. But you're piling them up onto the bonfire and you're setting it ablaze. I set all of those identities, all of those uniforms ablaze now. I don't need any of them anymore. I can just be free and clear of all identification. That's the thing too, y'all. You don't even need to pick like a new identity. You can just be. I can just be. That's what I want you to say. I can just be. I do not have to label. I do not have to identify. I do not have to name. I do not have to categorize. I do not have to organize. I can just be. I think we're going to end it on that, everybody. We're going to do 100% of 100% of mop up. Thanks so much for being here. We're going to give us all some new energies today to help us as we try to find that humor and that laughter in the midst of our change, in the midst of our transformation. We're downloading all of us with the energy of hope. We're downloading all of us with the energy of love of self. Oh, I love this so much. Hope and love of self are our replacement energies today. Open and allow yourself to feel those things. You can say with me, I open myself up to hope. And I open myself up to loving myself. As I transform, as I change, I do not have to be afraid. All right, everybody, let's drop back in right here, right now, in this present moment, softening, giving it a little wiggle, giving it a little shake, thinking about how we're going to take where we're at right now, moving it into the rest of our day, right? Because we don't want to just end this and then go walking right back into our old identities and our old ways of being. We want to take a quick second here, shut off this video and really think about, well, what does this mean? How can I act upon this? How can I start acting more in alignment with my true self, with my true integrity? Stripped of all the labels, stripped clean of all the identities. How do I now begin today, in this moment, to live a more true and honest version of myself and not be afraid of the consequences, not be afraid of where the chips will fall, knowing that I can survive any kind of a tower moment that comes from this, and I can rebuild and reshape my life with laughter and humor, kindness for myself, love of myself, and hope that it's all going to work out okay. All right, y'all. If you are interested in having a one-to-one session with me, visit me at www.thepointedstone.com. You can buy pendulums and charts on my Etsy, which you can find through my website. Okay, everybody, thanks for being here, and we will see you next time on another episode of Clearing with Kate.